For a rivalry to grow strong, it must be based on mutual respect. And that's what makes Celtic Sixer games so memorable. It brought out the best in John Havlicek and Dave Cowens of the Celtics and Billy Cunningham of the Sixers. Sometimes it brings out the worst, but this rivalry always comes down to respect. The Celtics command respect as defending champs, and Larry Bird and Kevin McHale lead a familiar cast of characters. Familiar faces lead the Sixers as well. But this team is different now, and newcomers such as Roy Hinson, Tim McCormick, and Cliff Robinson join in as the rivalry resumes. No one in the NBA is respected more than Julius Erving. And in the last 11 years, no one has played in more of these classic matchups. Philadelphia and Boston today on CBS. And you'd have to go back more than 6 years since they failed to sell out Boston Garden for a Celtics game. And they have filled it up 292 consecutive times. And one of the great matchups await us today. And good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, and today we have an NBA matchup that is worthy of Super Bowl Sunday. Two great teams that are part of the storied history, not only of Boston Garden, but of professional basketball. Let's take a look at the standings in the Atlantic Division. It shows the Celtics with the second best record in the NBA and a 6-game lead over Philadelphia. And the last 4 years, it's been the Sixers chasing the Celtics. My partner is Tom Heinsohn, and of course the Sixers want to remedy that. They have 8 new faces on the roster, but the one man that they really need, who they don't have today, is Jeff Ruland, who's having the knee problems again. How do you assess both these clubs today?
Well, I think Philadelphia, without the ability to use Jeff Ruland, needs to develop a strong inside game. They're not quite as good at that part of the ball game right now as the Boston Celtics are. I think the Celtics currently are playing absolutely the best basketball I've ever seen this first 5 play.
And their defense has been tremendous. But in the season series, the Sixers have a 2-1 edge. They won both games at Philadelphia. The Celtics won here. So coming up, sit back and enjoy the NBA on CBS. Today's game from the Boston Garden is brought to you by Miller Lite. For great taste, there is only one light beer. Nissan, who invites you to test drive the new Go Anywhere Nissan Pathfinder at your Nissan dealer now. And by the U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. This afternoon, Charles Barkley, the big gun for the Sixers. Hinson and McCormick, new faces. Julius Erving at guard. And he is in his last year of a sensational career. And Maurice Cheeks, the dynamo at point guard. For the Celtics, Kevin McHale, Larry Bird, and Robert Parrish up front. Dennis Johnson in the backcourt with Danny Ainge. Joe Crawford and Dick Bavetta are the officials. Tommy, we talked about Jeff Ruland not being around for Philadelphia today as we look at Casey Jones, who is going to be coaching the Eastern All-Stars for the 3rd straight year. Matt Guokas leads Philadelphia. But the Sixers have activated Andrew Toney, the troubled guard who has had leg and foot problems, plus disciplinary problems with Matt Guokas during the year. He has been reactivated. We don't know how much he's going to play, but everyone knows, Tom, that a healthy Andrew Toney is one of the feared weapons in the NBA.
There's no question about that, Dick. I think Matt Guokas has had to coach around so many problems this year. It's amazing that the Sixers have the record that they have. This ball club right now, the Sixers, have the 8 new faces that you mentioned before. That's not an easy job to integrate those players into a no-mistake game plan.
Tommy, a lot of people talk about tempo starting a game. What do you think is critical in this matchup today?
I think whose inside game is going to be the most productive will be instrumental in who wins this game.
And without Ruland, you would have to say that Boston, as they normally do, has the bigger front line. So it looks like an uphill for Philadelphia going.
They have the more practiced and experienced people with the moves. Hinson, McCormick, and Charles Barkley certainly can play down there. So we're going to see some good defense, or not good defense, down in the low post.
Sixers control the tip. Charles Barkley is guarded by McHale. Matchups are very critical in this game, and we'll be watching those closely. Dennis Johnson is on Julius Erving. Low pass by the dot. Barkley, with 4 seconds on the clock, tries a 3-pointer and throws up an air ball.
Very interesting. Larry Bird started out defending against Tim McCormick, the Sixers center.
And that's not unusual. Dennis Johnson loses the ball going in, recovers, and Danny Ainge hits the shot. Against Atlanta Friday night, they had Bird guarding Tree Rollins, and so Bird will always guard the least effective offensive threat on the other club up front.
I think McCormick can score, but they don't want to put him on Hinson because Hinson's such a leaper.
Turnover into the hands of Dennis Johnson. Nearly a minute gone by. Barkley on Bird.
That's the challenge. Matt Gukas says Charles Barkley only likes to play defense against guys he respects. So I guess he respects Bird.
8 seconds on the clock. Parrish was setting a screen. Hinson is on Bird and forces Bird into a wild shot. Good defense by Hinson that time, and Philadelphia with the ball trailing by 2.
Guarding Bird, the real challenge is to stay on the floor and not go for his fakes.
Hinson against Parrish. Rebound McHale. Lead pass Ainge. And the rebound by Philadelphia. So that was like a kind of pass we may see later this afternoon, in which Ainge picked one off and Cheeks was defending.
Well, I remember last Sunday's game, the tempo and the pace that both clubs try to establish early. Both teams right here are walking the ball up the court. It's going to be half-court game against half-court game.
Tim McCormick misses, and McHale with his second straight rebound. Quick outlet to Ainge. Irving is back. Ainge goes to the hoop and draws the foul. Another one of the great things Ainge has done for this Boston Celtic club, both offensively and, of course, defensively.
I'll tell you, Danny Ainge is a fall-through-the-crack offensive player for the Celtics. He gets garbage points. A rebound here that he can put back up. A bailout player that hits the outside shot when the inside game breaks down. I mean, he's made a solid contribution.
The foul was on Hinson. Just the opening minute. Getting warm here in what is a chilly Boston Garden. We've been here when it's been the other way, about 100 degrees in June.
Remember that against the Lakers? All the ushers had the door open and were cooling the place off by breathing heavy.
I wouldn't mind some of that heat right now. A little more than 2 minutes elapsed. Charles Barkley shooting from outside misses. Philadelphia is cold so far. And the rebound with the Celtics leading 4-0. Larry Bird, his first basket of the ball game. And it's now 6-0, and Philadelphia 0 for 4 calls a 20-second timeout.
How cold was it this morning? Look at this. Danny Ainge at 11:45 a.m. needed a bathrobe to warm up. Now, give me a break, Danny. I'm surprised he doesn't have his little puffy slippers on, too, to go with a cup of hot chocolate.
The big trade, and we talked about new faces on Philadelphia. This was the big gamble, and it was a gamble. Moses Malone and Terry Catledge going to the Bullets for Jeff Ruland, Cliff Robinson, and a couple of draft choices. If Ruland had been healthy, I think it would be a great trade for Philadelphia, but Ruland has missed 34 games. This is his 35th, and Matty Gukas has had to make do and mix and match his lineups, and Moses Malone is off to a great start, having a fine year with the Bullets.
There are a few dominating big guys in the NBA, and Moses is one of them. He could score, and he could pick up fouls on the opposition. They don't have that particular thing in their lineup right now, the Sixers.
Working against Bird is McCormick. Dennis Johnson doubles him and knocks the ball out of bounds.
Now that matchup will be very important for Matt Gukas to develop, to try and make Bird work defensively, tire him out, and maybe pick up a foul.
9:18 on the clock. Philadelphia hasn't scored. McCormick hits the first basket of the ball game. Former Seattle Sonic, who came over along with Danny Brains, and the Celtics on the break get it 2 right back with Kevin McHale.
One of the problems for the Sixers is everybody getting back quickly enough. The Celtics release people to get into the fast break better than anybody, perhaps, in the NBA.
McCormick. And McCormick traveled. He saw the looming figure of Parrish.
Look at this. The made basket, long pass. They do this so well, and already McHale up the court. They're getting caught in transition problems, finding the right man to play quickly.
You better keep up. Those Celtic big men will run the floor on you all day. Barkley challenges Bird. Good defense by Barkley. So Hinson and Barkley each have done a good job on 2 occasions. Celtics leading 8-2. 8:25 remaining first period. Hinson, line drive shot misses, and Bird clips the rebound.
Because each team is playing different people at one end of the court, around half court, people get lost in their defensive assignment, and both clubs trying to take advantage of that. People getting lost in transition.
Under 8 minutes to go, first period. Bird. He's getting warmed up. Larry Bird, third in the NBA in scoring. Matt Dukas will call a timeout. The Celtics have run out to an 8-point lead.
This is the sweet spot in the low post position, right by those two red boxes. If you can get down there, it's the greatest advantage for the offensive player. So there'll be a battle going on the entire ball game. Bird is trying to push McCormick up this way so that Dennis Johnson can come down and double team so that Bird can get some help. The further up he can push the man, the easier it is for Dennis Johnson to get at McCormick and help out like that.
The Sixers have shot only 1 for 7 from the field, and they trail by 8 points. A little more than halfway through this opening period, a little less, I should say. McCormick trying to get it to Julius Erving, who's posting up against Dennis Johnson. Triple team. Ainge got his hand on it and caused the turnover. So the Celtic defense, which is key their latest success, starting out here. And Maurice Cheeks, who's second in the league in steals, picks one up now. Ainge on Erving now on a switch. Cheeks going in against the big man and hits the shot. Maurice Cheeks last year played the most minutes of any player in the league, and he really is a workhorse.
He's the key to that fast break. They rely on him to push the ball at the defense very, very rapidly to break the defense down.
Hinson on Parrish. Cheeks staying with Ainge. 7 on the shot clock. Bird has his 6th point of the ball game, and the Celtics are up again by 8.
When Larry Bird has trouble playing one-on-one against a good defender, all they do is set picks and make somebody else play Larry Bird.
McCormick is playing outside to try to draw the defender. He gets the return feed from Julius Erving, and a turnover is called, a foul against Philadelphia, loose ball foul.
Watch Danny Ainge come down and play good team defense along with Larry Bird. As soon as he saw Bird come into the picture, he went back and picked up Bird's man and saved an easy hoop.
Roy Hinson has 2 personal fouls now, and the Sixers playing tighter defense, trying to cause the Celtics to move out a little more, and another foul, and that'll be against Julius Erving, his first foul. And right now Philadelphia is just not out of the starting game.
They are not getting the fast break opportunities that they like to get, but most of their fast break opportunities are triggered by defense, steals off of denied defense.
12-4 Boston. Parrish. Robert Parrish having his best year, has been in double figures every game on the season, and it's a 10-point Celtic lead. Kick ball and a new 24-second clock, and the first substitution of the game is Cliff Robinson, who was acquired from the Bullets in that Malone deal. He's done a good job defensively, and the question is whether he can give them the offense off the bench or not.
Well, I think that Robinson is a perimeter forward, not really truly a low post forward, but he can score.
He gets the ball now. Parrish is guarding him. Misses his first shot. Loose ball. Barkley wins it. Ball blocked by Bird. Erving goes up and misses, and here's Barkley, and he gets it. So Charles Barkley with relentless offensive rebound. What a rebound that was. I mean, he got 2 of them and stepped in between. Parrish misses. McCormick gets the outlet to Robinson. 14-6 Celtics on the break. Cheeks to Erving, and the Sixers are storming out for the first time this afternoon and cut the lead to 6. They have fast break. They rely on quick rebounds, good outlet passes, and a hard push by Maurice Cheeks, and they got exactly that trip. Cheeks has a lot of new faces, though, to deal with on the break, and we have a foul away from the ball against the Sixers. You watch Charles Barkley hang in there. You've got to put a real body on Charles Barkley. He is a behemoth under there. They make a nice block on him, but watch, he gets his position again, and great hands. They attack him, and what body control to make the hoop. McCormick committed the foul. Danny Ainge, and McCormick gets the rebound. That's his fourth of this opening period.
When the long shots don't go for Boston, that triggers fast break opportunities for the Sixers.
Turnover, Bird to Parrish.
Fourth man up the court. When everybody's running, there may be a little guy with a half a step lead.
Parrish is on Cheeks. Now Ainge is on McCormick. Sixers trying to get the advantage of that mismatch inside. Can't on the missed shot by Mo Cheeks. Pass to Parrish inside. Good position. But Maurice knocked it away, and it's going to be Sixers ball.
That was a perfect example of a big man taking off up the court, anticipating a rebound or a steal, and it almost worked for the Celtics.
Parrish has made a living running the court effectively. Barkley against McHale. Couldn't scoop it. McHale. Bird. Ball away. Air ball, and here's a 4-on-2 for the Sixers. And Cheeks is fouled by Danny Ainge.
Watch Parrish to the left of your frame. As soon as the man had possession of the ball, he was off and running. Mo Cheeks was alert to that, and yet the size advantage made it pay off for Parrish.
That was a good foul by Danny Ainge. The Sixers had a 4-on-2, and that's only the first team foul against the Celtics. And so now Philadelphia has to inbound. Cliff Robinson. McHale.
That normally is Cliff Robinson's shot, that 15 to 18-foot jump shot.
Bird for three. Larry Bird, who is second in the league. Amongst the leaders. Hits the three-pointer. He can break your back with that shot. Timeout. Coming up next, the Super Bowl today, live from the Rose Bowl in Pasadena and other locations. And we'll send you worldwide. And then, of course, the Super Bowl. And who will win the game? We polled the Philadelphia 76ers, and they like the Giants by that total. And later on, we'll see what the Celtics
Look at Charles Barkley. Pick Denver. Well, what can you expect for a guy that watches All My Children and misses and comes late to a game, right?
David Wingate has come in the game, a rookie from Georgetown, as Cliff Robinson's reverse layoff falls off the rim. Tim McCormick follows up with his second basket of the game, and it's 19-10 in favor of the Celtics with 3:15 to go. Philadelphia down by 9, shooting under 30%.
And the best defensive team is on the court in the backcourt right now. Wingate.
McHale and Maurice Cheeks. McHale with the basket. Wingate, big surprise as the 44th pick. Tremendous defensive spark.
Got a chance to be an outstanding player, too. He's got some terrific skills.
He guarded by Dennis Johnson, who right now is doubling up on Cliff Robinson. Quick passes, good move inside by Barkley, and Charles Barkley with a great first step.
One-on-one, he is so tough to defend. I mean, that wide body really shields you from the ball.
And the pass thrown away by Dennis Johnson. You talked about the soap operas. Actually, Barkley did not start Monday because he came to the game late. As you said, he did not get to finish his soap operas, and what's more important, Thomas? Huh?
That's why he believes in Denver. Soap opera.
Cliff Robinson hasn't gotten his shooting eye down as he misses again.
Well, you got to pull the Celtics defense out by hitting a few outside shots.
Ainge. Parrish there with the follow-up. Robert Parrish gives the Celtics an 11-point lead as we wind down to 2 minutes to go in the opening period.
The Celtics, when they fast break, Dick, and take a quick shot, boy, they really pound the boards.
Wingate hits from outside. If he can develop an outside shot consistently.
That's what Matty Guka said. That's all he's missing, and I'm sure that he's got the ability to, when he practices, to develop the shot.
Bodies fly, and a foul against the Sixers.
You watch Robert Parrish now take position away from Charles Barkley on the offensive board. That quick shot, Barkley didn't know whether he should go out and play Ainge or block Parrish off, and Parrish made him pay for it.
Wingate committed the foul. It's the 15th foul against Philadelphia, and Danny Ainge is shooting. Ainge has given Larry Bird quite a challenge in the three-point derby. In fact, he's ahead of Bird in the league three-point accuracy.
He has become so confident with his outside shot he is now seeking the outside shot, something that he didn't do when he first broke in.
1:35 on the clock.
Look how easy that double was for Danny Ainge.
Barkley hits a three-pointer. Charles Barkley, who has been the big man for the Sixers.
Boy, when he hits that outside shot, you got to go get Barkley. He's tough.
McHale on a pick and roll, and a familiar play for the Celtics, who lead by 10, 1:15 to go, first period.
Most teams are trying to stop Kevin McHale by fronting him, and the Celtics really doing a great job of taking advantage of that.
Parrish guarding Wingate. Dennis Johnson on McCormick inside, and Wingate is fouled as he drives, and that is not a shooting foul.
There's McCormick trying to deny McHale the ball, and how do you defense this? A perfect pass ends up with a layup. You make your move right on the catch, you're a dead duck.
Dennis Johnson with the foul. Barkley opened his cheeks. Bird there. They're switching all over the court. Guards against forwards, centers against guards, and the Sixers throw it away with 49 seconds on the clock.
2 for 1.
Well, whose inside game has been the most productive so far? I'd say Boston's.
Bird 9, McHale 6, Parrish 6. Barkley leads Philadelphia with 7. 10 on the shot clock. Ainge for 3. Barkley with the rebound. 29 seconds remain in the period. Robinson slows it up. Trying to get on track. He's missed his shots thus far. Parrish knocks it away and can't save it. Philadelphia ball.
Cliff Robinson came in. They switched Bird off onto Robinson so he could play a little outside defense.
Robinson has missed his 4 shots. 9 on the 24-second shot clock. And they try to force the pass to Robinson against the double team, and another turnover against Philadelphia. 3 seconds to go. Larry Bird shot misses. Parrish no good at the horn. And that's the end of the first period. Celtic defense held the Sixers to 17 points and a 10-point Boston lead after 1.
Timeout.
Timeout.
That way you stop mistakes that lose games.
Works in life, too. When you see a friend take the wheel after 2-minute drinks, you know where he's headed. Arrest. Humiliation. A heavy price to pay. When you see a friend headed for that kind of trouble, call timeout.
Stop the mistake that'll cost him a lot more than a game.
Yesterday on CBS, the Dallas Mavericks, before the big reunion home crowd, beat the Lakers. Atlanta ended a 4-game losing streak, beating Seattle at the Omni in a big game for Dominique Wilkins. Phoenix over Indiana. Rookie William Bedford there. Cleveland over Chicago. Chicago's been playing awfully well under Doug Collins. Houston, the only bad game they had recently was right here last Sunday against the Celtics, and they rolled to a win over the Bullets. And San Antonio beat the New York Knicks 108-101, and Denver over Milwaukee in a high-scoring affair, and Sacramento defeated Detroit last night to slow up the Pistons. Corral 138-113. Start of the second period. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn and Andrew Toney is in the ball game. Number 22 for Philadelphia. McHale double teamed and stolen by Wingate, and Wingate ahead of the field. But Toney is in the ball game, and he had stress fractures of both feet last year, played only 6 games. He's been in 16 this year. Matty Gukas banished him from the bench because he was a negative influence. They had a big meeting with Harold Katz, the owner, and Toney's giving it another try now.
Well, they seem to have resolved their problems, and Matty has acquiesced to the fact that Toney wants to play.
Block shot by Barkley. Cliff Robinson comes back. Jerry Seasting is also coming to the ball game for the Celtics. Wingate, basket good and a foul, so it's David Wingate and Barkley have been the spark right here.
You're going to see Larry Bird get blocked as he's coming hard to the basket by Charles Barkley, and him Barkley, I mean, that's a mountain falling on you, pal. Bird didn't like it a bit, now did he?
Foul is on Ainge, his second, and the first substitution, second actually, for the Celtics is Darren Day. who's been filling the Scott Wedman role. Wedman, of course, is injured too, former Bullet. And let's see if a technical foul has been called. And that's the case. Larry Bird, who's complaining about Charles Barkley falling on him, has been hit with a tee.
The problem with the Celtics is how to integrate their bench into this lineup, and Casey Jones has tried several different ways to make the bench an effective unit. And what he's come up with now is to keep at least one or two of the regulars in the game as he filters other people in to give him strong offense. And right now, the Sixers are making a run at them because of that.
And Greg Kite has also come in the ball game, and it looks like Casey is really trying to develop Kite a lot lately as Tony hits the technical.
Well, Kite will be particularly important in this game because he is a great box-out man on the defensive rebounds, and talk about fighting for position in the low post. I mean, he's going to lean on you and move you up the lane.
And now David Wingate. Tony fighting for the loose ball out of bounds. Last touch by the Celtics. 27-22. The biggest lead for the Celtics was 11. Has been cut to 5. And now three-quarter pressure by Philadelphia. Seasting bringing it across.
That's one of the ways of cutting down on the amount of time that the low post game can be developed. Get all over the guard, bringing it up.
Foul is on Andrew Toney. Andrew Toney, whenever you mention his name to opposing coaches, look up in the air and whistle. They know how tough he could be if he ever gets healthy again.
Boy, did he have fire in his eyes the first couple of years he played, and that's what they seem to think he lacks now, his desire to want to play.
And a whistle and a foul by Joe Crawford away from the ball. And another foul against the Sixers, and this will be against Roy Hinson, his third personal foul. So that'll add to Matty Gukas' problems up front.
Look at that, Wingate all over Seaston.
Day has a screen from Ainge, double team, plenty of time on the clock. McHale waiting in the corner. And the rebound is by Hinson. 10.5 minutes remaining in the first half. 5-point lead for the Celtics. Sixers trying to cut it to 3. Ainge is on Tony. Loop it into Barkley. Good fake by Barkley in the basket, and the Sixers have scored 7 in a row. 9 for Barkley, and it's a 3-point game.
Bad gamble by Kevin McHale that time to try and pick off the pass to Barkley.
And they double with Ainge. Kite. Celtic game offensively has been quick passing and reversing on the pass, and now an illegal defense called against the Sixers.
When you start doubling and take the Celtics out of their normal rhythm of getting the ball into the low post, you break that up by doubling, by pressing in the backcourt. All of a sudden, it's not quite so easy for them. McHale doesn't get the ball where he wants. He doesn't have the time to develop the moves. It's tough. Of
course, Casey Jones had the luxury of a good lead before he went to his bench. Right now that lead is evaporating. McHale goes in and he's called for traveling. So the Sixers have the ball, and right now Casey Jones may be faced with having to put back some of those other starters if Philadelphia continues the run. Timeout, 9:53 remaining, second period. For Roy Hinson, who has 3 personal fouls, but Philadelphia is making a run here.
They sure are, and it's done by a defense. I think Wingate really put a little crimp in the Celtics offensive style. But looking at this man, Dick, I am so impressed. You know, it's very difficult when you're building a team not to become a little negative, because that's all you're really doing is looking at negatives sometimes and trying to balance them off against some positive aspects.
McHale knocks the ball away from Barkley. Another turnover by the Sixers. Darren Day, Ainge over Wingate. 8 points for Ainge. Dennis Johnson is the only one of the starting 5 for the Celtics who has not scored, and he is not in the lineup right now. Whistle, foul away from the ball against the Celtics, and it'll be against Danny Ainge. So Ainge now has 3 fouls. Ainge with 3 and Hinson with 3 for Philadelphia.
In essence, right now, Charles Barkley is playing center for this ball club. Robinson is really not a low post player. Well, this is a very small team the Sixers have on the court right now.
Julius Erving hits the shot, and Erving with his second basket of the ball game. He went in averaging 15 and a half. And with 3 minutes gone by in the second period, it's a 3-point Boston lead. McHale batted away by Erving and a block shot, but the Sixers stepped on the line and it's Celtic ball.
But that was good help by Dr. J to come along the baseline as McHale had beaten Barkley on the catch.
Dennis Johnson comes in for Danny Ainge, who goes out with 8. And you talked about block shots. Julius has more blocks than Barkley or McCormick this year. So he's been active.
I can understand it about McCormick. He's not a leaper.
McHale, and inside, Day missed the reverse layup, and the Sixers trying to cut Boston's lead to 1. Philadelphia has not had the lead in this game. Bird gets off the bench. He'll check in. Erving. Height. And Robinson fight. Barkley. And Julius Erving out of the pack, but it rolls off the rim into the hands of Seasting.
Even with a smaller team, they can still bang the boards, the Sixers. They're all leapers.
Day feeds Height.
Even the Celtics second unit are developing into excellent passes.
And a foul called against Jerry Seasting as Bird and Parrish come back in the ball game. There's the shooting this period, and Casey Jones at least is comforting to know that he still has the lead after going into his bench here.
But McHale has not been out of this ball game.
Tony tried to save it, he couldn't. And another turnover. The story off the boards, and of course Matty Gukas says we've got to control the boards, and right now the Sixers are doing a little more than holding their own.
Well, Casey Jones said Kevin's got to get a little rest. He just put Darren Day back in for Kevin McHale.
So it's a Parrish, Day, and Bird front line.
And Barkley has taken Parrish.
That could be a tough matchup for the Sixers. Celtics know it. Parrish misses the turnaround, and Barkley with another rebound.
Boston never misses an opportunity to take advantage of a mismatch.
6 rebounds for Barkley. Andrew Toney feeds to Robinson, who lost control. But there's Wingate. And the whistle and the Celtic foul against Dennis Johnson, and that will be Johnson's second personal foul. And for the Celtics, it is their 4th team foul.
That was a great rebound by David Wingate, I'll tell you. When you get a guard getting his nose dirty under there, that's a basketball player.
Bird on Barkley. Tony. Rusty misses the shot. Bird stolen by Robinson. Beats Wingate. And Wingate challenged Bird and scores, and it's a 31-28 Boston lead. And David Wingate, a good defensive player, has not missed 4 for 4 from the field.
That was an out-and-out bad pass by Larry Bird. One side of the court to the other.
Screen set by Parrish on a pick and roll. Not there. Seasting. Jerry Seasting on the run. This team moves without the ball, and they pass in crisp fashion.
And I'll tell you, David Wingate got right back in there and took the first jump shot attempt away from Seasting, made a move. I mean, Wingate's doing it.
Barkley to Tony. Tony trying to get his shooting on. Nearly halfway through the second period, and the Celtic lead at one time 10. 11 actually. 10 after the period has been cut to 5. Parrish against Barkley. There's the mismatch the Celtics have been working on, or trying to, the last couple of minutes.
And Parrish got great position, so they never had time to drop down and double him to help protect Barkley.
Robinson fighting through the screen is Seasting. Tony goes up and is fouled. And the Celtics will be in the penalty now, and Tim McCormick will come back for Philadelphia, as well as Maurice Cheeks, as Casey Jones talks it over. Pacific Division this year have been the Los Angeles Lakers. What a focused team they have been. Best record in the league, and they've just come off a 6-1 road trip. And Magic Johnson has become the Lakers' man as far as production, points, and assists, and if you want to talk about possible MVPs, Magic has got to be right up there.
Well, with the advanced age of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Pat Riley made a very important move, said, I'm going to distribute my offense a little bit more to other people, and Magic certainly has accepted that challenge.
Let him shoot it.
Andrew Toney. This is his first game this year against the Celtics.
He was one of the most difficult guards to defend in the league. Could get by you, could shoot over you, and those sore feet have really taken more than a step away from him.
5-point Celtic lead with 5:35 remaining in the first half. Dick Stockton and Tom Heinsohn at the Garden in Boston. Seasting wide open in the corner. That's what he did last year. He had that intestinal problem that affected his shooting. But Seasting looks like he's coming back as well as some of the others off the bench.
Well, he's important for the Celtics because he hits that outside shot and keeps the defense off the big guys.
Tony with a three-pointer. 37-33. Andrew Toney trying to sharpen his shooting up.
McCormick's walked Parrish up that double much easier when he gets up the lane.
Darren Day finds Parrish in good position, but he passes to Bird, who's fouled by Barkley and fouled hard by Charles.
When you get that defense rotating like the Celtics did that time, somebody's going to be open. But look at McCormick has worked them way up the lane. Look how easily Wingate can get at him. Now they move the ball around very nicely. That's perfect defense. Even though Bird scored, they had to make several passes to end up with a decent shot.
Bird is second in the league in free throw percentage after last night's action. And it's 38-33 with just under 5 minutes remaining. Wingate and Cheeks now the Sixer backcourt as Toney gets a breather. Julius Erving hits. Julius Erving. Michael Jordan actually volunteered to give up a starting spot to Julius Erving in the All-Star game, but both of them were voted in by the fans. We'll have all of the All-Star selections and starters at halftime. Bird against Barkley. You need a little bit of touch, too.
Yeah, Barkley put that wide body on Bird, and as soon as Bird felt it, he used that movement to spin off Barkley.
12 points for Larry Bird. Erving nearly threw it away, and Barkley draws the foul.
You know, one of the great things about Charles Barkley to me is the hands that he has. I mean, just to catch that pass by Dr. J that time was no easy achievement.
He is the leading rebounder and field goal shooter in the NBA. And the leading rebounder by that margin. And, of course, the last man to lead the NBA in both rebounding and field goal percentage was Wilt Chamberlain 25 years ago.
And a lot bigger, too. You know what it's like when Charles Barkley gets a rebound, he comes storming up the court. The little guy standing, it's like you're on a safari, and there's a rogue elephant coming at you out of the bush, full tilt, and all you're standing there with is a camera.
He's got 11 points and 6 rebounds, does Barkley. 40-37, favor of the Celtics. Closest the Sixers have been able to cut the Boston lead. Parrish has the ball knocked away by Erving. Good defensive play by the Doc, helping out. Barkley throws the ball away. He shouldn't be the guy down the middle with Maurice Cheeks in the game.
Well, he provides a hard push, and normally he's a pretty decent passer, even when he's in the middle of the court on the fast break.
Wasn't that time. 3.5 minutes to go, and a 20-second timeout called by K.C. Jones. Doc can still do it, Tommy.
When you play team defense, things like this happen. Here's a pick and roll setup. They really jump hard at Bird to try and shut him down. Parrish takes advantage of that, but watch Dr. J just down there waiting for the pass and knocked it away.
And now they've called it a full timeout by the Celtics, and will take a break as well from Boston Garden. Of the empty Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. They'll have over 100,000 later today for Super Bowl 21 between the Giants and the Broncos right here on CBS, and that's what they're going to be playing for in a beautiful afternoon in Southern California. Coming up at halftime, we'll send you all out to Pasadena, where Brent Musburger will fill us in on all the pre-Super Bowl activities. Irv Cross will show the Super Giants, who took a team picture in Superman uniforms. We'll also have a look through the eyes of Denver Bronco Keith Bishop, who's been shooting some home videos of the last 2 weeks of the Broncos Super Bowl preparations as the pace quickens, getting set for Super Bowl 21. Sam Vincent is coming the ball game for the Celtics, the second-year guard out of Michigan State. McHale, double team, hits the shot nonetheless, and Kevin McHale with his 8th point, a 5-point margin again for the Celtics.
And the Celtics really pick on Charles Barkley. Let's take a look at that front court scoring. Boston leading by just a slight margin.
Julius Erving driving against Bird and company, but Barkley gets the offensive rebound and is fouled inside.
I tell you, Charles Barkley has that wide body, and in addition to a wide body, has leaping ability. That's an unusual combination. Now you watch Barkley as McHale forgets about him a little bit, and all of a sudden Barkley has the quickness to go get it. Now watch, that spring leap puts him right into the pack and causes the foul.
And the foul is on Dennis Johnson. So both Celtics starting guards, Danny Ainge and Dennis Johnson, each have 3 personal fouls. And that's why Connor Henry comes into the ball game. He's been a popular man since he's been signed for the rest of the year. He was a 4th-round draft pick by the Houston Rockets out of California, Santa Barbara, known for his long-range shooting. And you know he's a Southern Californian by just looking.
I want to tell you why he's in this ball game at this particular point might be that Casey wants to stir up this crowd, because every time he's been on the floor, Connor Henry, that crowd goes crazy.
Well, he's got Henry and Vincent in the backcourt, and the Celtics starting triumvirate up front. 2:45 remaining in the first half, 42-39. There's McHale. You'll never stop him that close to the hoop.
What a pick-and-roll play. Mo Cheeks got caught underneath Kevin McHale. Very alert pass by Sam Vincent.
Jerry West says he's one of the top 5 players in the NBA. Cheeks feeding McCormick, and he's fouled. Good penetration by Maurice Cheeks, set it all up.
Here's the pick and roll. You watch, Cheeks gets caught. He has to end up with McHale, and Barkley goes out, and the next thing you know, Sam Vincent says, I can't even see Mo Cheeks behind McHale. He must be open.
McHale, meanwhile, committed the foul on Tim McCormick. McCormick and Danny Brains came over from Seattle for Clement Johnson, had a #1 draft pick in 1989. They thought he would be the backup to Jeff Ruland, but most of the year he's had to be the starter in the middle.
A very pleasant surprise. Very good offensive player, and I think as the year or two go by, he's going to be a dominant low post player. He's got some good moves.
Connor Henry driving the length of the court. Going to add to his popularity, Thomas.
Well, it wasn't a 3-point play, but they'll settle for a stop.
Irving inside to McCormick, blocked by McHale. Into the hands of Parrish, and the crowd is awakened. Thanks to Connor Henry. But a turnover, Wingate into the hands of Cheeks.
I'll tell you, that Wingate is some defensive.
And an offensive foul called against Philadelphia.
Here's Connor Henry, and I'm telling you, he's going into some heavy timber here. There's 3 red jerseys around him, and Charles Barkley, the monster, and that doesn't bother Connor at all.
Maurice Cheeks on the foul, and Casey Jones going deep into his bench in the first half against Philadelphia, something he hasn't done all that much. Sam Vincent to Bird. Vincent wasn't ready for the return pass, but there's Parrish. Again. Basket counts and a foul.
Robert Parrish hanging tough. Now he just put it off the glass too hard, but you watch, he hangs in there. Now Barkley, little up fake, and you got to be leery about Robert Parrish. He's using more up fakes to lift people, and he caught Barkley.
Second on Barkley. 4th team foul on the Sixers. Play by Robert Parrish, and it's 49-40. And a technical foul now has been called against Matt Lucas. So 2 technicals, one on Larry Bird in this first half, and now one on the Sixers coach. Bird on the line.
I mean, that's an icy stare. An absolute icy stare. Technical one time. looking at a referee just the way Matty was looking at it.
Really? Just once?
Just one, without a word. All I did, folded my arms, looked at the referee, and I got a check.
Well, the Celtics on an 8-1 run now have a 10-point lead. That's what they had after one period. McCormick with a fake. Harris knocked away. Wingate to McCormick. And let's see how they'll rule this. Celtics claim offensive interference, but they'll call the foul on Robert Parrish. But David Wingate with a terrific defensive play in there.
I'll tell you, David Wingate, if the Celtics don't realize it, they better be alert to where he's running around on the court, because he has got good hands, and he's picking off passes, poking dribbles away, and there may be a few droplets of perspiration coming down his brow, but I'll tell you, he deserves that.
1:13 on the clock, 50-41. Biggest lead for the Celtics was 11 points. The closest the Sixers have gotten was 3.
For a young pivot player, Tim McCormick has got some awfully good moves. Good fake. Just a couple of little things, more experience. He'll feel more secure
On
using
the
them.
turnover, Cheeks gets his own rebound. 1 minute to go in the first half. Barkley coming down the middle. On a follow, Charles Barkley.
What a play. Hanging in the air, and then goes back and gets it before the two of the Celtics can even move.
15 points and 8 rebounds for Barkley. Quickly into McHale, who's doubled. But Harris comes down like Barkley did. And the Celtics up their lead again tonight.
Well, don't double off Robert Parrish. Don't double a big man down, because Parrish is big enough and a good target for McHale.
But Barkley from Cheeks comes right back. And it's 52-45. 20 on the shot clock. Vincent watched by Cheeks. McHale. And it's up to 9. And now the Sixers can play for the last shot.
Kevin McHale has eyes in his back pockets. He feels where the opening is more than sees it.
Cheeks just waiting for the play to start. 10 seconds. Barkley's in 3-point territory. Cheeks with a couple of fakes on Vincent. Ball knocked away. And there are 2 seconds remain, and it's Sixers ball. Irving will inbound. Barkley. And McHale got a piece of it on Barkley's 3-point attempt. What a good half for Barkley. 17 points. But the Celtics lead it 54-45 here at halftime. The NBA on CBS is being sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by AFTA, Aftershave Skin Conditioner by Menon.
Sunny Southern California day. Hello again, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger. Everything continues on schedule now for this afternoon's Super Bowl 21 between the Denver Broncos and the New York Giants. Irv Cross has joined me. You were with the Giants over at the hotel. They looked very relaxed, Irv.
Very relaxed, very calm. But there was one player, Joe Morris, when I asked him, and he says, getting ready to go to the stadium. I said, Joe, are you ready to go now? I said, yeah, very tense. But you saw somebody who got here even earlier.
Well, the first arrival from the Giant entourage was the coach, Bill Parcells, and he was just dying to have somebody to talk to. First, he went down on the field. There he is conferring with the groundskeeper, George Toma. How short's the grass? Can Joe Morris get good footing? Assured that he could. And he walked from end zone to end zone. Then he took me inside the locker room and he wouldn't let me go. He was reading the ads in the program, and I found he was just dying for some company. But I was surprised that you ran into some of his players yesterday out here.
I really couldn't believe I saw him, like I would see him out here, Brent. We've all heard that the Giant linebackers are faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, and able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. But now the players themselves are starting to believe that stuff. There must be a lot of phone booths here at the Rose Bowl, because this is how Lawrence Taylor and his friends...
At Boston Garden at halftime, the Celtics lead the Philadelphia 76ers 54-45. And as you know, in 2 weeks, the 37th annual NBA All-Star Game will be played in Seattle, Washington. And to bring you up to date on how you, the fans, voted the starters, let's take a look at the starting lineups in the All-Star Game. For the Eastern All-Stars, the forwards, look at that pair of Larry Bird of the Celtics and Dominique Wilkins of the Atlanta Hawks. Wilkins, 4th in the league in scoring. One of the most acrobatic and exciting players in the game. Moses Malone is going to be the center in a new uniform, that of the Washington Bullets. His 10th All-Star game. He's 3rd in the NBA in rebounding. And the guards, Julius Erving of the Sixers and Michael Jordan, the leading vote getter with over 1,100,000 votes. Michael Jordan leading the NBA in scoring. He has drawn fans from all over this year, and it's good to see him healthy and playing in the game. Those are the Eastern All-Stars. Now in the West, taking a look at the forwards, James Worthy, 2nd All-Star game, both as a starter, and Ralph Sampson, who was the MVP in 1985. The center is Akeem Olajuwon, his 3rd All-Star game, and rising fast as a star in the league. The guards, Alvin Robertson, his 2nd All-Star game. He leads the league in steals from San Antonio, and Irvin Magic Johnson, who leads the NBA in assists and had 22 of them in the All-Star game in 1984. So in 2 weeks, we'll be in Seattle for the 37th annual All-Star game. Casey Jones of the Celtics and Pat Riley of the Lakers will be the coaches, and now the rest of the squad will be announced tomorrow by the rest of the coaches, and they have a very big task. There are a lot of forwards in the NBA in the Eastern Conference, guards in the West. What do you think?
Well, I think Kevin McHale, I mean, he was not selected. So Cummings, Pat Cummings, Charles Oakley, Barkley here of the Sixers. I mean, so many guys that could make this team at the forward spot. Very difficult for the coaches to choose.
Dantley, Oakley, you talk about that. Barkley and McHale. It's going to be very tough. Now in the West, you have a lot of guards to pick from, including Rolando Blackman of the Dallas Mavericks, who has really been red hot lately.
And Sleepy Floyd of the Golden State Warriors, and Clyde Drexler from Portland. I mean, it's no easy job. Somebody's going to end up feeling very poorly that they didn't make it. Last year, Mark Aguirre didn't make it, and he's a great player. I mean, so there are guys that really sometimes should be in the game, and they can't get in the game.
And I know that the Knicks would be very happy if Pat Cummings made it, but if Terry Cummings of the Milwaukee Bucks make it, that may even be more legitimate at this stage of the race. In any event, the rest of the coaches will decide, fill out how they're going to do the 12-man squad Monday for the 37th annual All-Star game. But a great starting lineup, always a tremendous show, and you'll see it on CBS 2 weeks from today. The NBA on CBS. Today's game is being brought to you by Miller High Life. Miller, made the American way since 1855. And by Renault and Jeep, official vehicles of the NBA. We're getting set for the second half here at Boston Garden, with the Celtics leading the Philadelphia 76ers 54-45 and trying to open up a 7-game lead in the division. Shooting percentages, the Celtics shooting very well, Philadelphia having their troubles.
I think mainly in the outside shooting department. Cliff Robinson taking those 18-footers, he couldn't hit it, and that really has not enabled Philadelphia to open up the inside game.
Rebounding has been surprisingly close. Philadelphia hanging in there, but the front line scoring, you pointed out, that would be a factor early.
And I think that outside shooting is having an effect. The Celtics able to get down there and double the bigger players of the 76ers. So Celtics defense and the inaccuracy of the outside game of the Sixers working against them.
Start the third period. Celtics with the ball in a 9-point lead. Their biggest lead, 11 in the game. The Sixers had cut it down to 3 on several occasions. Bird misses a layup. And here comes Philadelphia. Keeps pushing it up. And Robinson couldn't control it and traveled. Each team committed 9 turnovers in that first half. Bird.
And Tim McCormick was right at his face. I'll tell you, Bird has it measured to the half-inch.
15 points for Bird. He becomes the Celtics leading scorer. Barkley with 17 tops the Sixers. Cliff Robinson. And that goes over. So Cliff Robinson, who they count on for offense, is now 0 for 6 in this game.
And they need to get some offense from him, and he has been inconsistent a great portion of this season. He'll have some great nights, and other nights he's not there.
Barkley knocks the ball out of bounds. Still Celtics possession. Celtics have won 2 in a row and 13 of their last 15. They had a 48-game winning streak at the Boston Garden, snapped by the Lakers earlier this year. Their only loss here. McHale misses, and Irving with a quick outlet to Cheeks. It's 3-on-2 right now for Philadelphia. Cheeks penetrates. Robinson tried to keep it alive, and so did McCormick. There's Cliff again. And the basket's going to count, and the foul, and that was a blind shot by Cliff Robinson.
But that's the kind of effort that they need from Robinson. Offensive rebounds can give you a night in and night out 6 to 8 points a game in your average, and that's the department that perhaps he's forgotten about, offensive rebound.
Bird, his first foul. 3-point play, 56-48 Boston.
Again, this half-court press a little bit to make the Celtics waste some time in the backcourt, so they don't have a few seconds to work it into McHale.
Irving is backing up to try to double McHale. McCormick and Julius double McHale, who swoops in and gets the basket and draws the foul.
I'll tell you, one of the great things that Kevin McHale has mastered right now is to fight for position. Look at him work down to that red box area on the catch. He sees the double, little up fake. I mean, he has really been able to find the soft spot of any double team that develops around him. Probably better than any power forward in the league.
Foul was on McCormick, his second. McHale has scored 20 points in all but 3 games for the Celtics this year, but 2 of them came last week. And so maybe Kevin's just getting slightly tired now. Starters have had to play a lot of minutes for the Celtics. Cheeks misses. Parrish to against Barkley. Parrish with a big height advantage now has 15. So all the Celtic front court players, Bird, McHale, and Parrish, have 15 points.
I'll tell you, Charles Barkley's got to feel like a turnstile in the subway station. I mean, they're going right at him all the time and wheeling by him and through him.
2 minutes going by in this third period. The doctor. Barkley wins the fight for the loose ball. Goes up again. Bird behind. He was defending. And foul on the Celtics.
There is no lack of effort on Charles Barkley's part, I'll tell you. He does it.
Foul is on Robert Parrish. Second on Parrish. 9:48 remaining in the third.
The Towers take on the Atlanta Hawks in the flash attack of Dominique next Sunday on CBS Sports.
Bill Walton was in uniform today, but there's a trick. It was Celtic Team Picture Day, and that's why Walton was in uniform. He was one of the keys to the Celtic World Championship last year, but he's in civilian clothes when the game started. He had ankle surgery, and the question is when he's going to come back. He said maybe mid-February. The doctor of the Celtics, Dr. Tom Silva, says maybe March. No one knows for sure.
Well, the one thing I think that the Celtics have not done was have a contingency plan for a guy with those kind of problems in case he couldn't play the entire season. And the brunt of it has really been felt in that Greg Kite has really had to produce, and maybe he's not ready to produce.
18 points, 10 rebounds for Barkley. He makes 1 of 2, and it's a 12-point Celtic lead. When they had it up 61-48, it marked their biggest advantage of the game. Barkley is still guarding Robert Parrish, who loses the ball out of bounds.
Boy, are they keying on that matchup. They're going right at Charles Barkley when he's guarding Robert Parrish.
And McHale is guarding Barkley when Philadelphia has the ball. Ames doubles, and someone missed Robinson, who gets his first basket of the ball game. Second make it for Cliff Robinson.
A smart move by Robinson. Larry Bird lost him. That's who lost him.
10-point lead. Nearly 3 minutes going by in the third. Bird cutting in the lane, draws the foul.
You know, Charles is out on the court, but one of his great attributes with that big body and everything else is nice soft passes, and he sees the open men.
Tim McCormick with his third foul, and Bird shooting a pair. Celtics have never had a losing month in the Larry Bird era. It's now 51 in a row going into the month of February.
I'll tell you, this year he's been plagued by several injuries, an Achilles problem, a stiff back once again, but I'll tell you, nobody plays harder than Larry Bird.
Or Maurice Cheeks, who has the ball now for Philadelphia. Barkley knocked away by Ames. Cheeks was there. Cheeks hasn't had to take too many outside shots. He missed there. And that's key for Philadelphia, that when they double down, he's open. He's got to hit that shot.
He's got to hit the shot, and so does Dr. J. That's the guy they're really gambling off, Dr. J.
Cheeks is 1 for 6. Ainge. He hits for the Celtics, and Danny Ainge now in double figures with 10.
Celtics get you in an accordion defense. When you back down to play the big guys, the little guys will hit it. And vice versa.
Irving misses Burr the rebound. Celtics right now with their biggest lead. There's that long pass. Parrish missed McHale coming down the other wing. Celtics trying to open up 16-point lead, and McHale does just that with a bank shot.
Well, there's one-on-one coverage on the man, and he can search out blue sky better than I think anybody in that low post.
Timeout, Philadelphia, and the crowd just sitting through this surgical job by the Boston Celtics to this point anyway.
Super Bowl is a couple hours away. I want you guys out there to watch the Boston and Philadelphia game and let me know how bad Philadelphia beats Boston, because I'm really pulling for those guys. This is Doctor's last year. I want him to take it for us and for all the fans. And also, tell Charles Barkley to be a little bit easy on the fans next time. He almost ran me over in Denver.
He's done that to a lot of people.
I wonder if he had his camera with him. I mean, that's the elephant in action, baby.
7 of those 10 rebounds are off the offensive glass for Charles Barkley. But unfortunately for Mike Harden, it's the Celtics who have the lead, 67-51. And you know, the Celtics have legion of followers around the country, and many people who are watching this game out in Pasadena who will be suiting up in a few hours too.
Well, Wingate's in now to try and give that harassing defense a little go.
Barkley double team, forced the pass into the hands of Parrish, finds McHale. Turnover results in an easy basket for the Celtics, and McHale has 19 now to lead them.
Somebody should have picked up McHale. There were 2 Sixers back there. Mo Cheeks never got to him. I don't think he even saw him coming down.
18-point lead. Wingate left open to shoot, misses. And a foul is called. Loose ball against Philadelphia, and it'll be against Cliff Robinson.
Well, David Wingate is now a prove-it-to-me player. I'm not going out and guard you until you prove to me you can hit a couple outside shots.
Sixers had been red hot from the field until today in their 3 games this season. Philadelphia had a 2-1 season series lead. Celtics are threatening to break this game open. Parrish knocked away.
Barkley did an outstanding job of pushing Parrish up the lane. Here's a turnover that turns into a fast break. You look at Parrish, they're ever ready to look up the court and throw passes like that. Cheeks was there, and so was Cliff Robinson, but they didn't get to him quick enough.
Parrish with the first free throw and 9 straight points, run over by the Celtics. Question is, will Parrish be fresh come playoff time without the support that he had from Walton a year ago?
That was a big factor when the Celtics lost to the Lakers 2 years ago. How tired that first 5 got without help from the bench. That's why they got Walton.
You pointed out the top, the starting 5 is playing as well as anyone in the league. Along with the Lakers, I'd have to say. Turnover, Wingate lost it out of bounds. And the Celtics with a 20-point lead, 6:40 to go, in control of this game. And soon, KC can go to his bench with a big cushion. McHale, easy 2.
I'll tell you, when you play Kevin McHale and the ball is in the hands of Dennis Johnson, you better know where the ball is, because he'll slip it right by your ear.
Timeout, Philadelphia. The Celtics have outscored the Sixers 19-6 in this 3rd period. Went over the Lakers yesterday, continue to lead the Midwest, but the Houston Rockets have made up 5 games on the leaders. They've won 7 out of 8. Things have really tightened up in the Midwest Division, and you'll see the improved Rockets next week against the Hawks in Atlanta.
Well, I think they're bringing 2 pairs of sneakers for each ball player for that game. One for the first half, one for the second half. Both teams want to run and fast break. A lot of rubber going to be burning in that one.
Well, that front court play is going to be physical. Illegal defense called against the Celtics. That's their first violation. Just a warning.
I tell you, I detected a little bit of gray hair in Matty's head right there in that shot, top shot.
39% in the first half, 18% in the second half. We'll give you a few of them. Barkley going strong. Jump ball. They got all ball to the Celtics. Kevin McHale, and they'll jump it up.
Here is a great defensive play by McHale. What McHale does when he plays quick forwards, and that's a challenge for him, is back off you so you can't drive around it.
Celtics win the tip, and halfway through this third period, 73-51, a 22-point lead for the Celtics. We're trying to make it 14 out of 16. Bird. And Cliff Robinson clears it. Andrew Toney in the ball game now. He and Wingate make up Philadelphia's backcourt.
I'll tell you, the Celtics the last week and a half have taken away the best aspects of every opponent that they have played against.
Traveled. Celtics will try to add to that. Dennis Johnson has not taken a shot today. And he's pushed by Andrew Toney. Sixers are in the penalty, and so Dennis Johnson, who has not scored, goes to the line to try for his first points of the game, and he has averaged 14 coming into this ball game. But if he gives you that hard-nosed defense, that's enough in many cases for KC.
And what he's really doing is giving some outstanding passing. I'm telling you, he really has become a super playmaker. And there is no more forced shots in Dennis Johnson's repertoire. That's one thing that some people thought he did early in his career. He's the consummate team player now.
First points of the game, he has 9 assists to back up your claim about his passing. And you'll see that with a lot of the Celtic players. If Bird isn't scoring, you'll see his assists up. And the same for Dennis Johnson. Cliff Robinson. Doesn't fall for him. McHale the rebound. And Ainge on the sideline.
You better go back to the hotel and start over again, Cliff Robinson. He's having a terrible day, shoot.
Which means that Matty Gukas just isn't getting any offense from a lot of people. Ainge for 3. 17 straight points for the Celtics. With under 5 minutes to go, it's 78-51. Toney. And K.C. Jones will be able to go deep into his bench for a long period of time this afternoon. Hinson, who had early foul trouble, has the feed knocked away. Sixers are just not in sync today. And of course, a lot of new faces will do that. And they'll call the violation. Turnover against Boston as Tim McCormick comes in for a struggling Cliff Robinson. Robinson goes out with 5 points. The only player in double figures for Philadelphia today is Barkley with 18.
They've effectively shut down the big players of the Sixers.
McCormick. Blocked by Parrish. Ainge. The rebound by Barkley. Bird has 17. McHale 21. Parrish 17. And that time it was Roy Hinson. And that's his first basket of the ball game. 5.5 minutes without a score for Philadelphia before they broke the drought. 78-53. Toney with a good drive, reminiscent of a few years ago.
That sure was. Toney, when you guarded him, he could go left, right. You had to play him dead nose to nose in order to do any damage at all. And the foul against Philadelphia. Sixers in the penalty, and so the Celtics will shoot. Friday night against Atlanta, the Celtics moved out to a rousing 25-point lead. The Hawks cut it to 9 at the half. But when you have that early lead, and the Celtics did today, it's really tough to come back all the way against that. It's such a great cushion that they've been developing in the first quarter. It allows K.C. Jones to feel more confident in playing his bench, which really hasn't been totally unified yet. Big factor this week is how quickly the Celtics have gotten off in the first quarter of all their games, and they've done it here today too.
Julius Erving has spent a lot of the last few games sitting right there on the Philadelphia bench. McCormick with 4 fouls and Parrish with 19 points. A big day for the Celtic front line.
know, speaking of Dr. J sitting on the bench, everybody knows he's in his last year. It's a difficult thing for him to adjust emotionally to sitting on the bench. He's played and felt like so much of a part of their success right now, but Matty Gukas has got to play other people in the ball game to develop them so they can make a stretch drive.
3:05 remaining, third period. Dennis Johnson just took the ball away from Charles Barkley. Bird, the trailer, finds McHale. Parrish. Tipped up by McHale.
I tell you, Robert Parrish has really gotten in the groove of giving at least one fake, and he's lifting everybody in the league.
He's having a tremendous year, and it wasn't always that way for Robert Parrish. Tony's feed inside, knocked away by Bird. Celtics are putting on a clinic this afternoon on Super Bowl Sunday. And if one of the teams that'll be playing later today can play anything like this, they're going to be very, very pleased indeed.
But on the front end of the Celtic fast break, Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale, I mean, that's all-out hustle. You're two big guys on the front end.
And they're doing it with a big lead. So if there's ever a time to relax, it would be now. But the Celtics show no signs of that. And Seasting comes into the ball game, replacing Dennis Johnson, as the Celtics are on a 23-4 run right now.
You want to know something? A couple of years ago, they said the Celtics at times did not have the killer instinct, that when they had an opponent down, they didn't step on that opponent's throat. And right now, the Celtics this year, knowing that the bench is not really going to help them that much, when they get them down, they go for the juggler.
Hinson gets two back for Philadelphia. McHale, by the way, with 26 and the game's high scorer, has scored 14 of them here in this third period, as the Celtics have broken this game wide open. 2:10 remaining in the third. Bird has not had to be the key man today.
It's been McHale. It's been Parrish. It's been Danny Ainge hitting some outside shots. Really, the bench came in and for the minutes that they were in there, maintained some semblance of the lead.
Julius Erving with his second foul, and Parrish going to the line with just under 2 minutes remaining in the period, and Greg Kite will be coming in for Parrish. Now it'll be coming in for McHale. And for Kevin McHale, he has scored 26 points, 8 rebounds, and filling the lane beautifully on the break.
And don't forget, some staunch defense against Charles Barkley. He's not an easy man to defend against.
Parrish with 21. 87-57. Julius Erving misses on a three-point attempt, and the Celtics with a 30-point lead. New 24-second clock for Boston.
They have been doing this type of surgical precision against opponents for about 2 weeks now. I wouldn't want to be playing the Boston Celtics in the Boston Garden, you know, for the next week or two.
Seasting misses a three-point attempt, and a loose ball foul called against the Celtics. It'll be Robert Parrish. Or maybe any time. Remember a year ago in December, they lost to Portland, ran off 48 in a row here at the Garden before the Lakers beat them, and then they've started another streak now, and no one's come close to beating them here, except maybe Cleveland.
And nobody's been able to establish their game against them even. That's the surprising part. The Rockets couldn't run against them. The Hawks couldn't run against them. The Sixers can't get their inside game going against them.
And when they do, the Sixers turn it over. They've turned it over 9 times in this period alone. Andrew Toney hits a three-point shot. Toney has 11 coming off the bench. He's played, we told you, only 16 games this season. And KC wants a timeout with 54 seconds to go. 87-60. Robert Parrish with a great year. He has 21 points in the game. And of course, we talked to Robert Parrish about why all of a sudden it appears that he's come on and had his great years late in his career.
I'm guessing what you call one of those late bloomers. Got a slow start. Now the momentum is building up now. So when I first came into the league, I was a year or two behind because of the competition and my coaches they was guard forward oriented. And so after 2 years, I just didn't get any better in college. So I'm just catching up, so to speak.
And the big trade was the deal that sent Parrish from Golden State to the Boston Celtics. And Robert Parrish, not a flamboyant guy, but where would the Celtics be without the things he has given them over the last
I'll tell you, he has worked as hard at his game as even a Larry Bird. You know, everybody seems to say he does so much work on his game in the summer months. I think Robert Parrish has added a new move. We haven't seen it here today, but he has taken the ball on a spin move. And to keep developing like that is really a tribute to his desire to win.
He should be in the All-Star game. There shouldn't be any question about that.
Well, I really like the way he has banged on the boards. A lot of people said that Robert Parrish was wishy-washy and inconsistent, but the big thing was that he has never ever been the #1 low post option. It's always been Kevin McHale, so he doesn't get the same number of shots that Kevin McHale gets.
Next Saturday on CBS, #1 ranked Iowa, shocked by Ohio State last night, will go against Michigan. And the Big Ten looks to be a very strong conference indeed. That'll come your way at 1 o'clock Eastern time, followed by a Big East test and a good one. Syracuse, with only 1 loss this year, that to Michigan, will travel down to Landover to face Georgetown, 3 o'clock Eastern. A big college doubleheader next Saturday on CBS Sports. 87-60. Ainge finds Bird. 3 regulars in the game now. Ainge, Parrish, and Bird for the Celtics. Kite is fouled going to the hoop. Biggest lead for the Celtics is 30 points.
Well, you can hear the crowd here now mumbling as Kite steps to the line, because for the last 2 months it's been an adventure. Greg Kite shooting foul shots, but he's worked very hard to try and perfect shooting free throws, and he's coming along in that department.
Bird goes out. He has scored 17. Darren Day replaces him. Kite, who has been struggling from the free throw line at 33%, but that's better than it was a week ago.
Well, his main problem was softening up the shot. And that time it was, the last 2 were just a little bit too soft. Got to get it over the front of the rim.
Still 87-60. Andrew Toney has a shot blocked by Kite. Parrish, and it's kicked away. It'll be Celtics ball with 28 seconds remaining in the period. Celtics had a 10-point lead after 1 period. Then it was cut to 3 in the second before the Celts moved it out again to a 9-point bulge, and they've broken it wide open up here in the third.
This is a great experience for a player like David Wingate, however. Matty Gook's going to play him a lot of time, and he'll feel free to take as many shots as he thinks he's got. And that's what Matty wants to see from Wingate.
2 seconds on the shot clock. Seasting misses a shot from inside the line. 2 seconds to go. Long throw by Wingate misses. And the Celtics outscore the Sixers 33-15. That's the end of the third period. And we'll return after this word from your local station.
Ball away. Hits it! All right! Stansbury tied at 108. Fleming outside. No. Rebound Kellogg. Indiana wins. Irving to Cheeks. Back to Irving. Sets himself from behind midcourt. It's on there. He made it! Julius Irving with a 3-point shot from America's game. Has won the game. It's fantastic. Incredible shot.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Basketball Association is sponsored by Chrysler Plymouth. We're working together to be the best. John Hancock Financial Services, real life, real answers. And by Certainteed, manufacturer of one of America's quality fiberglass insulation. Well, with the Super Bowl coming up later today, it's a rare day off on a Sunday for Diane Sawyer, who is in essence trading her 60 minutes for 48 minutes, Tommy.
Well, everybody's looking for a shorter work day. But actually, this hasn't even been 48 minutes. It's been more like
24.
24, yeah. Steve Coulter in.
Steve Coulter was acquired for Sedale Freed in a deal with the Chicago Bulls, and his role coming in was to back up Maurice Cheeks, and an old face for the Philadelphia 76ers, World E. Free. Got him for his outside shooting, is also in the ball game now. Roy Hinson. And Day the rebound. So we'll focus in on the two new guards, Coulter and Free for Philadelphia. As we start the fourth period, the Celtics leading by 87-60.
Well, B's got a little beef around his middle there.
Ainge for three. Second three-point shot of the game, and 16 for Danny Ainge today.
And that's the type of shot World B used to throw at the Celtics.
Coulter draws the foul. We saw Coulter, of course, Christmas Day when the Bulls played the Knicks, and he's a quick guard, good push man, but his problem has been offense.
I think what really his problem is more than anything else is that people expect him to become a team leader and a bona fide playmaker, to know when the fast break is there and how to dish the ball off and call plays for this player, read the game situation. And I don't think he's got the experience for that.
Foul was on Day, his third, and Coulter, who played last year at Portland, now with his third club in less than a year. 1 out of 2, 90-61 Boston. Free is on Ainge. Kite with a pick and roll, nothing doing. McCormick, Kite going strong to the hoop, and a loose ball foul, no basket, and Greg Kite pushed off.
I tell you, the people around here at the Boston Garden say that Kite gets fouls called on his jersey.
There have been players around the league in history.
Darryl Dawkins, prime example. All of a sudden, the style of play is impressed on the official's mind. They never get a break.
4 on the shot clock. 3 loses it. McHale trying to get it to someone. Finds Kite. Here come the Celtics. Still scrapping as if the score were tied. McHale on a feed. Pick and roll. Kevin McHale with 28 points.
Why, when you front them, it goes back to the center of the court right down the lane.
Kite blocks it out of bounds.
I mean, they have the low post game so well developed, the Celtics, it's almost impossible to defend it.
Irving just 3 of 11. Here's World B. Free doing what the Sixers hoped he would give them.
But I don't think Free will be as effective coming off the bench as he would be as a starter, because he's used to playing minutes and getting a certain number of shots. For him to come in red hot, awful tough job.
He returns to Philadelphia, where he played for the Sixers 9 years ago in a different era. 10 on the shot clock. And McHale draws the foul with those long arms. Very difficult not to foul Kevin McHale or to block his shot. And a timeout is called. 9:50 remaining in the fourth. Day at the office for Boston.
See some real great team defense by the Celtics, a scramble type of defense. Jerry Seasting will come over here. Danny Ainge will stay with his man. Any type of penetration, you'll see Greg Kite show himself. And this man right here will be the free safety, helping on any kind of penetration. I mean, that's everybody thinking and on the same page. And watch Kevin McHale just sitting in the lane, picks up his man, look at them stop the penetration, they make him kick the ball back out, and all of a sudden the free safety in the lane picks it up, and off they go.
The Sixers have been held under 20 points in 2 of the 3 periods this afternoon, and normally that translates into a big win, and they're shooting only 35%. So the Celtic defensive magic, which has worked so well the last couple of weeks, continues as McHale hits the first free throw. Going for his 30th point. And McHale with 30, his season's high is 38.
There's only one man in the NBA right now that reads the team defense in the low post as well as Kevin McHale, and that's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Coulter, 3-point territory, goes for it and hits. Steve Coulter.
Well, that would be helpful if Steve Coulter could develop that outside shot.
Philadelphia 76ers. They've been the challengers of the Celtics this decade. But the faces change. Seaston, good passing by the Celtics. There's Darren Day left uncovered. Kite setting a screen. Ames driving in. Blocked. Julius Erving. Open court. Coulter 3-on-1. And Coulter. And it's 94-68 with under 9 minutes to go in the fourth period.
Well, one of the problems with the Sixer fast break is that the forwards are not fast enough, and Dr. J is not a jump shooter on the wing, so their fast break potential is limited. And you just saw the last fast break by the Sixers. The real way that they can do it fast, 2 guards out that can hit the outside shot.
Darren Day. Hinson trying to post up McHale. And Day. He's looked good. Shuffles it to Kite. And Kite can't hold on.
Well, it's kind of a poor pass, but they're still running at Philadelphia. That's a surprise.
Danny Brains coming in for the first time. He came over in the deal from Seattle. He'll be coming in the next whistle along with Tim McCormick. Started early in the year. He's had some injuries. Reputation as a defensive forward. Not much confidence offensively.
Listen, it's so difficult to take 8 new faces into a ball club and try and make something out of it, let alone have significant numbers of those 8 faces have injuries.
3 is fouled as Brains comes in. Let's back up a little bit now. The Philadelphia 76ers, who have finished second the last 3 years to the Celtics and likely will trail them again this year because of the metamorphosis undergone by Philadelphia, the trade of Moses Malone. Rulin's injury, missing 34 games, really has hurt this club badly. But where do you think the Sixers are heading in the short range, maybe even the long range?
Well, it's a tribute to Matty Gukas that with all these things that have happened, his club is still very much in the race.
Well, they're definitely in the race for one of the top 4 playoff berths, which assure home court in the first round in the Eastern Conference. Day loses it out of bounds, and it's Philadelphia ball. But as far as really hanging in there and challenging, and you know about the chemistry of the club.
McCormick has got to really become more of a dominating inside player, as does Hinson, and Robinson has to become more consistent.
Hinson goes up and is fouled right there, and he'll go to the line to shoot. Keep in mind that Hinson was acquired from Cleveland for the #1 draft pick in the draft. It's translated into Brad Daugherty in North Carolina.
Dominating low post players, and when I say that, that's what Hinson has to become. They have to have at least one thing that they can do against everybody, whether it's rebound, whether it's hit a hook shot, whether it's whatever.
Danny Ainge leaves the ball game, scoring 16 points, including a couple of 3-pointers. He's had at least 1 3-pointer in 12 straight games. And Hinson's 2 free throws, 96-70, a 26-point Boston lead, 7:25 remaining in the game. Connor Henry in the ball game, through the cheers. Kite misses the short hook shot. Rebound McCormick. Coulter has Brains on the wing. Doesn't go to him. Coulter to McCormick. Good pass, good play.
It's things like that that McCormick does that you say he's going to be a player because he understands the game and can get open.
You knew the Sixers would have to rebuild at some point when you had the veterans in that lineup like Irving and Cheeks and Malone.
And they're sure in the process right now. And the point I'm making is that they're still in the pennant race, so they're far ahead of a rebuilding program.
Lloyd Free, as he was known when he played 9 years ago, now World B. Free after his years in Cleveland. A reminder that the Super Bowl today is coming up after this contest, to be followed by Super Bowl 21 between the Broncos and the Giants in Pasadena, California. Named Lloyd Free was one of the spark plugs of a club that had the likes of Doug Collins, George McGinnis, and look at that hairdo on Julius Erving, and the rest of the Philadelphia 76ers roster coached by Gene Shue. And what a big change it's been. Now it's World B. Free, and he's shooting 30% and trying to get in condition. And remember that ball club, those characters?
I coached against that team, and let me tell you something. They wore out my Celtic team in one playoff round. We went 7 games, and I don't think my players, after we lost the 7th game, had enough strength left to put their street clothes on.
Free intercepts the pass from Day. Basket counts and a foul.
And this man in particular back in those days, World B, I mean, we had nobody that could stop him from taking that long bomb. We would play in front of him, on top of him, on the side of him, and he would still overpower us with those long outside shots.
Now he returns to the scene. 6:25 remaining in the ballgame.
Remember I said that a player has to be able to dominate with one shot. He had that long outside shot that he could get off against any team, any player that defended him.
Connor Henry was defending him on that foray and committed the foul. McHale still in the ball game. He's the only starter from the group that started the ball game. Darren Day hustling nicely. Henry for 3 is way short. Green's the rebound to Coulter. Under 6 minutes to go in the game. Coulter with showing the speed that he had in Portland.
I think he's going to be really capable of running that fast break. It's the other leadership plate-making role that I'm not quite sure that he's got enough experience for.
Celtic lead is 96-79. Their biggest lead was 31 points. Sixers have scored 11 in a row. Connor Henry misses, and Darren Day knocks it out in the hands of Free. Double team. Good pass, Coulter to Roy Hinson.
Well, you can see that he understands what's supposed to happen on the fast break, that some people are open coming up behind you. Very heady play by Steve Coulter.
13 in a row run off by the Sixers. We trail now by 15 points. And Dennis Johnson's going to come back into the ball game. And a Philadelphia foul as Johnson and Sam Vincent both returned to the game for Casey Jones. And the foul was on Tim McCormick, his 5th. Larry Bird also comes in. So Casey Jones doesn't want to take any chances here, Tom.
No, you know, sometimes coaches will put their second unit in there when they're way behind and make it appear that they've given up, and they hope to climb back silently into the game, and that's what the Sixers are doing right here.
And Parrish is also going to come back in as the cheer resounds for Greg Kite hitting a free throw. So all of a sudden, McHale was the only starter left in there. And Parrish will be coming in. We'll have 3 starters, or maybe 4, with Dennis Johnson. Hinson grabs the rebound. 1 out of 2 for Kite. Under 5 minutes to go. Celtics by 16, but a long haul for Philadelphia. Not a lot of time to work with. 6 on the shot clock. 3, long range. Dennis Johnson. Found an opening. Basket, no, but a foul, yes. And Dennis will shoot a pair.
Dennis Johnson has been having some ankle problems. I think that's why he's limited his number of shot attempts.
He's gingerly walking right now. So Dennis Johnson going to the line, and he is one of the most physical players the Celtics have.
That is an understatement, I'll tell you. When you have to go out and play the likes of all the tough big guards in the NBA nowadays, it takes a physical player like DJ, so he's trying to conserve his energy for that defensive role.
Larry Bird said Dennis Johnson's the best I've ever played with.
And I believe it. Watching him here, he is so fundamentally sound defensively, and he developed, he's not a quick-footed man either, but boy, I'll tell you, he knows how to shade your right or left and how to take away the strength of your offensive game.
Savvy's a big part of this game. Hinson. Now the Celtics with 4:12. Larry Bird has 17 points. He has not scored in this 4th period. Coming up, the Super Bowl today from Pasadena, California. Brent Musburger and company. We'll send you all over the world with coverage leading up to a magnificent game. This year, the Broncos and the Giants finally settle it. Dennis Johnson with his first shot of the ball game and makes it.
And he was forced to take that shot because the 24-second clock was running out.
Here's Hinson. Doubled with McHale and Vincent. He'll go to the line.
Now that's a typical example of being dominated by another player. I mean, right now, Kevin McHale is a better defensive low post player than Hinson is an offensive low post player.
Fred Roberts replaces Larry Bird, who leaves the ball game with 17 points.
Penalty down here, Dick.
And Fred Roberts, who was the sixth man until recently, his fifth NBA club.
I think the reason is because that Greg Kite has become more important to them because they have to rest McHale and Parrish a little bit more, and Roberts doesn't fill that big man defensive role. He's really now just a backup for Larry Bird. And you know Larry Bird doesn't like to come out of the game.
That's why he's Larry Bird. Roberts. This is the short jumper. Danny Breen advances to Coulter. Good fake on Dennis Johnson. Coulter has looked good since he's been in the game. Three try to intercept the pass to Vincent. And there's Roberts on the layup. I want to tell an interesting story about Roberts. We said he's been with 5 NBA clubs, and a couple of those deals have been really strange deals. And when we get a chance, I'll explain why. Under 3 minutes remaining now. McCormick. Basket good and a foul. Fred Roberts was traded at one time from New Jersey to San Antonio as compensation for Stan Albeck, who left. Then he went from Utah to Boston, and the Celtics would play a preseason game in Utah. Strange deals indeed. As the Twin Towers of Sampson and Olajuwon lead the Houston Rockets against the Atlanta Hawks. Maybe two of the future teams in this league. Dominique Wilkins, outstanding. He's got a lot of help, but he can put a show on by himself. Doc Rivers, Kevin Willis, and the rest of the high-flying Atlanta Hawks host the Houston Rockets from the Omni. The NBA on CBS next Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern.
I'll tell you, that game to me, you know I'm a fast break devotee.
Yes.
And I love to see 2 fast break teams go at each other. Very seldom does a fast break team know how to defend against another fast break team. They're so used to thinking the offensive side of it. It ought to be an interesting basketball game. A lot of speed and action.
So there's Fred Roberts, who's traded for a coach and a preseason game, among other things.
And he needs a shave bad. You know, whenever he gets clean shaven, he sits on the bench. So I think he's going to grow a full beard so he can play some more minutes. I think there's a little bit of superstition involved with Fred Roberts right now.
102 to 84. 2:44 remaining. Vincent, the screen from Kite, pick and roll to Kite, and he's fouled going in and will go to the line and shoot 2. As Matt Gukas will send in Andrew Toney. Once again, Toney was banned from all club activities this year, including sitting on the bench during games by Matt Gukas for being a negative influence. He's back in the good graces after a big conference, and the question that Gukas had was his desire to work at getting back, even though he suffers the pain in both of his legs. And it's always the question is how much can you work and how much can you stand as Henry comes in.
Well, there's always a question about malingering ball players. Are they earning their money? Are they putting the effort into it? And you really have to convince the coach and the organization that you are. And I think after they had that sit-down session with the owner and the general manager, that everybody, at least above Matty Gukas, is satisfied.
You emphasize that above Matty Gukas. Hinson misses. Toney fights. And there's Connor Henry. Turns it over into the hands of Coulter. Rick Carlisle in the game is back, and Toney on the layup. 2:10 remaining. Toney has 13 points coming off the bench. He's averaged 6.5 in the 16 games prior. Trapped by Philadelphia. Under 2 minutes remaining. Vincent hits the jumper.
The more playing time Vincent has acquired the last couple of weeks, the better his outside shot has been developing.
Big scoring up front for the Celtics. 3 missed and Kite got the rebound. And Roberts is fouled. Well, the Super Bowl draws near. What do the Boston Celtics think? Well, that's interesting. They like Denver more than the Giants.
Robert Parrish is a toss-up. And why wouldn't it be a toss-up for him?
He jumps center.
He jumps center.
Danny Ainge said he has a lot of friends in the Rocky Mountain area. That's why.
Well, Danny is very diplomatic. You know, he's from way far out there, so you would think that he'd have a natural leading to Denver.
1 free throw for Roberts. 1.5 minutes remaining. The Boston Celtics will open up a 7-game lead over Philadelphia. The Sixers are going to have to, again, look over their shoulders at the Washington Bullets coming up. Kite got a piece of Coulter's drive, and Roberts has it. And he traveled. You know, Tommy, the Bullets with Moses Malone, who was obsessed this year with beating Philadelphia, has done it twice so far, and the Washington Bullets are not that far behind the 76ers, actually 2.5 games after this one today.
Well, Moses is reinvigorated in his attitude to go out and play, and when Moses is determined, watch out.
Tony with the baseline shot. By the way, Kevin Lockery has done a good job amidst the injuries that the Bullets have had, including Jay Vincent, Frankie Johnson, among others.
So what happened to the Red Sea when Moses was determined, didn't it?
Rick Carlisle. Pretty move by Carlisle. And all of the Boston Celtics are in the scoring column this afternoon. And Andrew Toney, now with 17, he has hit his last 6 shots. So he ought to be rusty when he started this game, but he's certainly not finishing it that way. Crowd wants Henry to go for 3. Roberts has the shot blocked by Henson. Toney.
That was a goaltender.
And Toney now has hit his last 7, and he has 19 points. And right now, Andrew Toney leads Philadelphia. Turnover inside, and the basket by Coulter, and now it's 109-94. Too little, too late. Vincent. And a foul. Danny Brains as Vincent came in there.
One of the things that Sam Vincent was having a problem with is that he was taking off too far out past the foul line. And on this last move, he got an extra dribble to the hoop, and he went up strong against the big man, and he ends up on the foul line.
Henson goes out, and Wingate comes in. Don't forget, at the end of the game, we'll have our Miller Lite Most Valuable Player. To give you a hint, it's one of the starting front court players of the Boston Celtics.
Well, certainly the top question was whose inside game is going to be the most productive. And I have to say, absolutely, the Celtics.
They got position more often.
More often, they avoided the double teams, and they really got the good shots off inside.
Coulter, 1 second, and that will count. The basket will count for Andrew Toney, and K.C. Jones, headed for Seattle in the All-Star game, has another win in his pocket. 111-96. The Celtics win easily over Philadelphia, and we'll be back. Standing by at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, as we draw close to the Super Bowl this afternoon as they trounce the Philadelphia 76ers to go 7-up in the division. Final score is 111-96, and our Miller Lite Most Valuable Player of the game is Kevin McHale, who scored 30 points, 8 below his season's high, had 9 rebounds, 2 block shots, great defense, filled the lane all afternoon, and a great frontline effort. Miller Lite is proud to present a check for $1,000 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society on behalf of Kevin McHale, and he's with us right now. And another day at the office, huh?
Just about. We played pretty well. Our defense is picking up. We're playing better. I give Casey a lot of credit. With all the injuries we've had, he's kept a good rotation, he's kept a good flow, and we're starting to play better.
You know, I want to show you something, Dick, why this guy is so effective. Now, we're practically the same size, aren't we?
Practically.
All right? Now, let's put our arms up, Kevin. All right? Now, that's the advantage that guy has over everybody else.
That's right.
That's why he's tough to stop.
He uses it. All right, and he uses that advantage. We have a couple of plays, Kevin, to show you, and here they are.
Okay, I'm just trying to get low on McCormick. He likes to push and shove, so I figured that, you know, you got to get down low on him. And I'm moving around doing the worm here. Pretty soon I'm going to get the ball. And I think this is where, I don't know what the heck I do now. Who knows? I think I dip underneath here, yeah. I come back to baseline and just slipped underneath him. I've worked on that move, and it's pretty effective if I can get to that spot. I like the worm, though.
I liked it, too.
That's a new dance established by Kevin McHale. It's called the worm. Congratulations on a fine game. Kevin McHale in the win. Don't forget, we have the Super Bowl coming up between the Broncos and the Giants, and we'll be back to Boston Garden with more after this word. Hey, but the Philadelphia 76ers can keep their heads high, I think, Tom, with one thing that they saw today. Andrew Toney, who was activated after playing only 16 games, he's had the foot problems, scored a season-high 21 points and looked very good out there. If he can stay healthy, that's got to be a bright spot for Philadelphia.
What I really looked for with Toney out there was his foot movement, to see if he was running around gingerly. He may be a step slow because he's out of shape, but he certainly didn't look like he was favoring his feet at all.
And if Jeff Rulin can come back and it's a day-to-day thing, the Sixers can get back into it, perhaps.
I think they've done a remarkable job without a frontline center and using a guy that really played power forward before he came to the Sixers. And I think this team is going to be reckoned with if Rulin ever gets back there, that can play a few games coming down the stretch.
And what a bench they would have. If they get Toney back and Rulin can play center, McCormick now coming off the bench, then they're a force to be reckoned with when they need it in playoff time.
I will tell you that these are the type of teams that the Celtics would be really, really terrified about if they got Rulin back with about 10 games left in the season.
Well, that's why they wanted to open up a big lead in the division. We'll see what happens as the season goes out. So that's the story here. The final score here at Boston Garden, the Boston Celtics 111, the Philadelphia 76ers 96. So for Tom Heinsohn, I'm Dick Stockton saying so long, where once again the Celtics are victors. Remember, next Sunday we'll have more NBA action as the Houston Rockets take on the Atlanta Hawks starting at 1 o'clock Eastern time. And coming up next, it's Super Bowl 21. Coverage starts with the Super Bowl today. CBS is a presentation of CBS Sports.